public space is meant to be used in a certain way for people who designed it, and we just hack the urban space in a way and use it differently, and people, I mean, it challenges people in a positive way.
When we play with each other, I think that we develop trust amongst each other. I think we talk to each other in a way that I don't think many other art forms or events type of things like, say, theatre or cinema, I don't think they can achieve what play can do in that sense.
When you play, you create this moment in time where you liberate yourselves from your everyday routine, and you get a chance to live in your fantasy world, and you have the chance to work with your rules and to join other people into this fantasy world, and that is very liberating. Okay, you're in.
Gather in. Now listen, my friends, everything is not awesome, okay? As I'm sure you've noticed, the world is changing.
I was cursed to play in Krakow, and I wanted to end the curse so I could stop playing. So I cursed the participants, and so this curse means you have to play non-stop, but also it has some physical symptoms. And I was covered in body paint yesterday, and I also painted people with the curse.
We invited about 60 game designers and artists from all over the world, from 15 different countries, to come to Krakow and to bring their games or to develop games here that make use of the city in very different ways.
It's not important to have a winner in a game. So of course there are many games that are competitive, and most of the people first mention games that are competitive when they talk about games. But I think there's much more, and maybe also games that are more cooperative, about playing together, working together, building a kind of vision together.
Well, it's sort of evolving. We did a workshop yesterday and started off building this maze, and now we're sort of developing it a little bit more, and it's quite different from how it's been before, because it was sort of built quite organically and quite quickly to start with, and then sort of more slowly developed from that and secured and decorated. So we're sort of working out what kind of game might be played in it.
A lot of the games in this festival kind of play with the relationship of the body in the urban landscape. So how do we use the city as a body? Where can we sit? Where can we walk? How can we configure our bodies together? I mean, a good example of this is Hopscotch by Agustina Woodgate, where the hopscotch just extends further and further into the city, and you follow it with your body.
The first numbers of you see, I play them. Square, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Very conservative. The moment that other people started helping, you saw how the end looks. Triangles and octagonals, and this is what I learned from exchanging and opening up the process and allowing other people to be playful with already something that is inviting for a game.
Games are also really good at focusing attention, of a kind of, you don't pay attention to anything other than what's important in the game for a moment. Maybe you're looking for just the fox on Rinnek, a square, while riding on a bicycle. Suddenly everything else disappears and you have just the fox.
and more we get to know that our attention itself is part of the worldwide economy, not only when you regard Facebook games, for example, or other so-called social games, where you can see, okay, I myself, with my attention, I am important currency in this world.
So we're doing two games here. One game is called Know Your Place, which is a satirical, unfair game about the British class system. So we invite people to kind of be born onto our island and go through a whole life of work and school and retirement.
If you're not playing, 3 of you will contribute to the system by collecting the shuttlecocks and giving them to the bureaucrats, okay? We need to keep the bureaucrat system going. We need to keep the shuttlecocks going. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't want to contribute to that. If you don't contribute to that, you will be punished, you will be fined. This island will not tolerate people who do not contribute.
Let's imagine that you are a kind of religion designer instead of a game designer. What kind of religion would you like to design?
I would design something like a church of play, where everyone should try to play every day as much as possible. I mean, you can engage with everything playfully, so I think you can play all the time, even in your job, when you're doing some serious thing.
I will play my very best.
I will play my very best.
To receive the terrifying curse of play.
To receive the terrifying curse of play.
I think we live in a time where we don't have one single belief system anymore, but many small ones that overlap and interact. And also for this, it's really good to know about games, to understand games, in order to kind of understand how belief is structured in our society and also how chaos is created.
Games and religious rituals share a long history, and we try to figure out what are parallels, what are differences. Can being playful even be a new religion, or the playful approach of creating games in a kind of iterative process, can this also create new rituals for a new kind of society?
I think there's a certain element of creativity that comes with play because of the fact that there's, so much of our life is very structured and we have these routines that become very fixed. And I think that games can be kind of like a way of understanding the world in a different sense than our everyday routine kind of modality.
Play is an integral part of your life, and everybody has to play sometime, and play happens all the time. But I think it's important to recognize that you need to play and to consciously try to play.
I say when we play with each other, we learn about each other, we trust each other, and then we communicate, we share experiences, and it brings people together, I think. And it also creates an intervention. It's sort of, I always use the metaphor as like dropping, in a public space, it's like dropping a pebble in a, in a lake or a pool and seeing the ripple effects, and just shaking things up a bit.
Thank you.